Hello and welcome to a new video on the HKCM Global channel. My name is Philip. Today I will be speaking about Bitcoin and Ethereum. But first things first, at the moment we have some new features in our dashboard for our paid subscription service, and therefore we have currently a 20% promotion discount code running. It's features 20. So if you go on our homepage, hkcmglobal.com, and sign up for a paid subscription service and put in the code features20, you will receive a further 20% discount also on the already existing discounts depending on the duration of the subscription. Let's dive right in. Bitcoin, Ethereum, I think it's a very, very critical point at the moment. It's also some could you almost call it make it or break it point, especially for Ethereum at the moment. But first of all, let's dive into Bitcoin and let's take a look at the overall perspective. Where is Bitcoin? Where am I expecting Bitcoin to go in the future? So basically, long-term perspective on Bitcoin for me is still that we have completed a wave 1 back in April of 21, have then subsequently seen a large correction for wave 2 and are currently overall basically running within the wave 3 of a possibly larger wave 3 scenario. We have not yet reached any levels at the moment where I'm expecting for wave 3 to have topped out, and that's also why I'm still expecting that wave 3 will need much more of an underbelly and will need more substructure in order for the market for Bitcoin to eventually be able to reach price targets of $200,000 and higher. Therefore, my overall expectation at the moment is still that we have probably already topped out in wave 1 and are currently working on a B wave and then finalizing a correction in the long run with much lower targets to come. In detail, the probable path that I've outlined would be that in the next weeks and months we will see another stop over here in the area of 62.51. Then another rise, corrective rise in a B wave, and then a final C wave impulse to the downside. Due to the nature and also how far the B wave has already risen at the moment, it also, of course, bears the question, is it still possible that we could still be within wave 1? Both scenarios are absolutely possible. The thing is, for now, I'm going with the B wave because I'm not a big fan of the substructure that has developed since the lows here in the mid 70,000s. That's why I'm sticking with the B wave count. But it could just as well be the final wave 5. It would be possible. It would have to be forced, but it could be forced in. The count could be forced. So basically, the alternative wave 1 could also complete with the B wave. But at the moment, just to make things easier, if we would break 138.91, then I need to expect this to continue a little further into the region, 148, 168, for then wave 1 to top out and then starting the decline. This path would look as follows. Basically, we would move into the target zone, come back down, also stop over A wave, another B wave rise, and then a final descent to the downside. Basically, if we look at the long-term perspective here with my targets to the downside, for example, if we move up here and we reach 148,000, for example, which would be then the next realistic level if we cross that 130 level to the upside. So basically, if we go up here, then targets to the downside would also, of course, shift upwards. There would not be a possibility anymore for Bitcoin to go below 30,000, but there would definitely still be enough room for Bitcoin to go below 50,000. So just to be sure on that, but this will have to be seen how things play out at the moment. For now, I'm sticking with my current targets, calculated on the database I have at the moment, and therefore in my current scenario, if we look at the longer time frame, it would still be possible for Bitcoin and will also be expected by me at the moment due to the typical targets being 76.4, 78.6 retracement for a wave 2 in Bitcoin, that prices would reach levels below 40,000 in Bitcoin. Yeah, definitely something that would not be to be feared, but to be cherished, because it would be another major buying opportunity in this market. At the moment, yeah, I've taken it off the charts at the moment, just to be fair with our paid subscription. Yeah, we have a short zone at the moment, which is active. So we have taken up some short positions in Bitcoin, and we have also decided to take off some profits, just because we can take off profits at the moment. And I think it just makes sense where we are right now, because let's go back to this chart here. Even if we are to be crossing this 131,000 level, there is not that much left of a potential within Bitcoin. Yeah, I know that there's a lot of people out there claiming that Bitcoin is now going to be going straight to 200K plus. At the moment, I'm just not seeing it. The structure isn't there. Bitcoin hasn't done it in the past like that. So it's just very unlikely for the market to be doing that. And what we have done currently is we haven't sold all of our Bitcoins, of course. We just took off some profits from positions that have been well in the plus, in the positive. So currently, maybe if we reach the 138 level, it's another 13-14%. Even if we go up here, it would be another 28%. Okay, that's a fair chunk, yeah. But in relation to where we are coming from with our positions, let's just look at the last long position that I took within this target zone down here in the end of 24. Currently, even this position is at 108%. So why not take off 20-30%? Yeah, just bunker the profits and then see what happens, and we're going to be still in play, and we haven't taken everything off the table here, which is also something I would never be advising to do, but it's just a healthy thing to do, my perspective. Yeah? And also, if we look at the other buys we did that are way back, and that were also were done basically right at the bottom. So we are looking at hefty profits here on those positions. They are a few 100% in the plus at the moment. So why not take off some of those profits? Okay, I went a little low here. I have to calculate it because it's not 600%. So we were looking at we're looking at 595% here to the upside. So this is something which is I think it's a fair point to take off some profits at the moment and not make such a fuss about it, because as I've just shown, I'm not expecting this much more to be coming to the upside. There is not another 300% here to the upside going to be happening, at least not within this move. Yeah. So at the moment, if we cross the 1,000 mark, region 148, 168, definitely in the cards. But then I'm finally expecting this thing to the upside to be over, and we are going to be entering a longer term prolonged correction, which the market simply needs at the moment. Because if we take a look at the indicator charts here as well, we are up there. I mean, monthly is up there at the moment. Yeah, it's not showing signs of weaknesses yet, but it's up there. It's definitely at very much maxed out 2 week. We've already seen it try to cross down twice. We are slowing down within the momentum. The weekly is definitely slowing down the momentum. We also have seen some nice divergences here. 4-day has been losing momentum for quite some time. Also very nice divergence on the 4-day into the last highs we've seen so far. We've just seen a cross down on the daily. The momentum is moving down. We are almost in reach of negative momentum here at the moment. So also here on the daily chart, nice divergences within those highs that we've seen over the past weeks and months. At some point, somebody is going to pull the plug on that, and then I'm expecting more sell-off to be seen. Even within a move to this area up here, I would expect the market to take a sort of at least a breather, like something around 10-20%, in order to get enough momentum going to push that upside here. But that will be seen over the next few days and weeks. It's definitely at a major inflection point here, the market. The same also goes for Ethereum, although the chart just doesn't look as hasn't been looking as good for quite some time. But we have seen now recently a major push by Ethereum. I was also expecting it to push to the upside. I would still prefer this whole thing to hold below the 4107 mark, and then we'll see another sell-off to just clear the whole structure, clear liquidity down here, and then be ready for a major breakout in Ethereum. And just so that I have it on tape here, I will be one of the biggest Ethereum bulls if Ethereum manages to just get its shit together and clear up its charts. Because in the long run, especially when we're going to be taking a look at the indicators, Ethereum is in a much better position than Bitcoin at the moment. Yeah, we are very far from being overheated, overbought on the longer term timeframes. But I still believe that the current structure that has formed from those lows here at 1,385, I'm still not seeing this as a impulse structure in terms of Elliott wave. Not that it is an impulsive move. People always get that wrong, and then they write some nasty comments under the videos, not understanding what they're talking about. This is not an impulsive move in the sense of an Elliott wave, 5-wave structure to the upside. And that's the issues I'm having here at the moment. And that's why I'm also not seeing a sustained break at this point for Ethereum. So the alternative scenario I've come up with here, that I would be allowing Ethereum now to rise further and even go attack the all-time highs and the levels above that, would be that we are still within a larger term correction. So basically, what would this be? Yeah, I would need to switch the high of wave 1 to the actual high that was formed in November of 21. I have some issues with this structure as well, but I'm rather going to be counting this move to the downside as a very deep 4th wave correction, because I can still count this as an impulse move, rather than expecting a truncated wave 2 over here and then expecting this to be a impulsive structure to the upside. So this is something I can live with much better, and it would still allow Ethereum then to make another sizable move, but it needs a sustained break above this level, and it will still not, I'm not expecting this to go up there in a straight line as well. It would still be followed by a major drawdown here to the downside, but just is not as much as this move to the downside, and then we could blast up here and even reach levels around $6,000 for Ethereum before the long-term correction then will still have to be completed. So basically, if for example we're going up here, we're reaching around 4.5, 4.6, which is possible, then there would be a drawback in the area of around 3 to 2,600, something like that. Currently, the levels are calculated on the high that we know of. So this will be, as always, subject to change, those target zones. But if you are a member of our paid subscription service, you will of course be informed about those changes here. Let's take a look at the indicators here as well with Ethereum. We are coming down at the moment and seeing some nice divergences on the lower time frames, 8 hour, for example here. We have also lost momentum significantly. We are on the verge of crossing down on the MACD here as well. We are losing momentum for a couple of days, so I'm definitely seeing that this has enough potential for a intermediate correction like I have shown. So this one or even this one, but for this one it would only be the start, but for this one this would definitely be something I would be seeing to be basically completed by a turn of the daily, so coming down on the daily and becoming oversold on the daily and then turning up again. This would be a possible scenario here for me. We are becoming overbought on the 4-day, which has been a point in the past where all those recent highs that Ethereum made over the last 2 to 3 years have topped out, and they were the price was sent back down again. So something I'm eyeing closely here. Something I want to draw attention to is definitely the fact that we are coming up on the longer term time frames. We're coming up on the 2-week, and we're also trying to cross up here on the monthly. Monthly is coming out of the midfield, to be fair, so we have not been like crazy oversold or something here. So this is something that I would like to have seen or would like to see in the future for Ethereum, to really build up that base for a sustained break, and then to be able for Ethereum to hit the 5 digits, which I am definitely expecting at some point to occur. As I've said before here in this video, I will be one of the major Ethereum bulls, and I will be much more bullish on Ethereum than on Bitcoin, because if it completes this correction in a clean way and it settles all its problems within its chart, it will be able to outperform Bitcoin by a mile. Yeah, so this is something I'm really seeing here. But at the moment, we still have major structural problems within the charts, and things are still not looking very hot. And that's why I'm being cautious here. And that's why my most bullish scenario is that we are, even if we rise above that $4,177 level, that we are still going to continue to be within a corrective upside move, which can, as said before, possibly reach levels around 6,000, but will still then be sent back down in order to complete that correction. Yeah, so to sum it all up, yeah, I think both coins are at a very interesting inflection point at the moment, and I think we are not very far from a deciding day or deciding week in the cryptos for how things will be playing out over the next months. And yeah, then we will see. And if any major changes occur, we will see how we could reposition ourselves. But as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, especially with Bitcoin, yes, we have taken off some profits, and yes, we have taken up some short positions, because I just think that this is definitely a wise decision at the moment. Always, of course, in perspective to where we are coming from, where our subscribers that have been with us for a couple of years. And I think that's also the hint here. This is not a short-term game. Yeah, I know that a lot of people are now, oh my God, this is gonna, because what are we gonna do? And they are being idiots. Why are they taking off profit? And I exactly know what kind of people these are. These are the people that have entered the market at like 80, 90, even 100K. They are now trapped in their long positions. They are close to all-time highs, and they want the market, they want to see the market go to 200,000, because they know if this correction is going to be taking place, they're going to be in big shit. And they're going to be in big shit for some time, and they probably don't have enough capital to do DCA then, which puts them in a very ugly position. And that's why, if you want to play those markets, play them in the long term, play the long run game here, be there early, not come to the markets when they are close to all-time highs, but come to those markets when they are at all-time lows or multi-year lows, as have done many of our subscribers, who are now, as I've shown, within positions that are in the plus, in the green, a couple of 100%, and they can now take and lean back, take an easy position, just look at things, how they're going to be playing out, relax, and if it comes back down from the profits, do some rebuys, and not be in any trouble. Yeah. So that's just some word of advice here at the end. Thanks as always for watching. Yeah, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, leave a comment, helps the algorithm, and see you next time.